Ice Spice may have gotten her start in 2022, but it wasn't until 2023 when she truly exploded into the mainstream. In just a few short months, she went from being a rising star to dominating every single corner on social media. Whether it was TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, you name it, she was there. You couldn't scroll on these social media platforms without seeing her face or maybe even hearing one of her songs in the background of these videos.
You thought I was feeling you? I was feeling you.
Her signature style, her catchy hooks, and the way she looked, let's keep it a stack, had us captivated, and we were so interested in her. We wanted to know who she was and where the hell did she come from. But what really set Ice Spice apart from all the other up-and-coming artists was how quickly she was able to start working with industry heavyweights. Collaborating with icons like Taylor Swift and Nicki Minaj so early in her career was practically unheard of. It signaled that she wasn't just a flash-in-the-pan artist. She had real powers backing her up. These co-signs elevated her status almost overnight, turning her into a promising newcomer to basically a household name. Within the span of 2 years, her TikTok videos, often featuring trendy dance moves or having little snippets of her music, were literally viral gold. They would get millions, tens of millions of views. Millions of fans and influencers copied her moves, with her sound bites dominating the platform. The combination of her looks, her style, and her music made her the it girl of the moment. She was living the dream, headlining major concerts, racking up them brand endorsements, and securing herself as the next big superstar of her generation. Or so it seemed. You see, the thing about fame is that it's a fragile thing, and it didn't take long for the cracks in her images to start showing. What seemed like a rapid rise to the top started to feel like a house of cards, as the same platforms and fans that once championed her were now the first to point out the flaws in her persona. Her debut album, which was heavily anticipated considering all the buzz that was surrounding her, landed with a thud rather than with a bang. Sales did not meet expectations, the reception to the music was lukewarm at best, and suddenly the narrative started to shift. Fans who once blasted her music non-stop started to ask themselves, was Ice Spice just hype? But it wasn't just the numbers that were concerning. Behind the scenes, whispers started to circulate about her true personality. The persona that she presented online as a carefree it girl, a baddie, she do what she wants, that persona was starting to be called into question now. People who had worked with her and interacted with her, and even people who, I don't know if I can say the word friend because it's really not giving friend, but I'm gonna just say friend for now. So people who were her friends have spoken out about Ice Spice. She's not just losing followers, she's losing something that's much harder to regain: credibility. As she was exposed for being a mean girl, being colorist, being homophobic, being fatphobic, and about lying about her background to gain more attention, the narrative around her has shifted rapidly. And these are not just small mistakes, these are the mistakes that can actually make you lose your core audience and low-key ruin your career. In a world where looks can make you famous overnight, but talent is what keeps you there, Ice Spice's story is a cautionary tale. Is this the end of her career, or a much bigger problem in the world of social media fame? Let's get into it. Yeah. But before we get into today's video, I gotta ask you a question. Have you ever thought about how much of your personal information is just floating around on the internet? Like your phone number, your address, even your social security number, all out there just waiting to be scooped up by these scammers. It's actually wild how easily that your data can get leaked. And trust me, it's way more common than you think. That's why I've turned to Aura, who is the sponsor of today's video, because I'm not about to let some random hacker hack my information. Aura helps track down which data brokers are selling your information and submits opt-out requests on your behalf so you can keep your personal information private. Plus, they send you alerts if any of your sensitive information is compromised, and they give fraud alerts if people try to mess with your credit cards or your bank accounts. Y'all, inflation is high right now. We do not have time for anyone to be hacking our accounts. Keep your money safe. And Aura does so much more than just protecting your personal information. It also has a VPN, transaction monitoring, antivirus, password manager, identity theft insurance, and parental controls, all in one affordable subscription. It's like having everything you need to protect yourself online all in one place. Without Aura, it's like locking the front door but leaving the back door wide open. The internet is not going anywhere, and neither are these scammers and hackers who stay trying it. So protect yourself online. Don't let them get you. That's why I'm relying on Aura, and I encourage you to do the same. Don't say I didn't warn you. You can visit aura.com/nksworld to start start your 2-week free trial today. It is linked in the description box down below and also the pinned comment. Take charge of your digital security. Your online protection starts today. But now that we know how to protect ourselves online, let's get into this mess with Ice Spice. Part 1. The initial appeal of Ice Spice. To understand where it all went wrong, we have to first look at how Ice Spice captured everyone's attention in the first place. When she burst in the scene in 2022, there was something fresh, something undeniably magnetic about her. People couldn't stop talking about her style, her energy, and of course, her looks and her booty.
It's like, you know you walking around with all that ass.
She had this girl next door meets instant trendsetter vibe that felt relatable but also unattainable at the same time. I myself was bamboozled by Ice Spice too, which is why I'm making this video, because I am usually never bamboozled. But first, let's talk about the initial appeal of Ice Spice. Before Ice Spice became a household name in the rap game, she was just a girl from the Bronx with big dreams and even bigger ambitions. Born Isis Nija Gaston on January 1st, 2000 in the New York City borough of the Bronx, her journey from local New Yorker to global sensation was far from ordinary. Her well-known rap name,
Ice Spice,
didn't just come from some PR team meeting or whatever. It actually came from her fake Instagram account that she made when she was 14 years old. That's what she says. But honestly, as we get into her story, you're gonna see that trusting her word is not always the smartest thing to do, because sometimes the things don't line up. So I'll just take that with a grain of salt. Cause like, girl, is you Nigerian or not? You know what I mean? Like, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Growing up wasn't easy for Ice. Her father Joseph and her mother Charina, hope I'm saying that right, they met while they were working at McDonald's. And life for the family was full of ups and downs, but that is normal, of course, because no family is perfect after all. Her parents separated when she was only 2 years old, leaving her to navigate the complexities of having two separate families. But her mother, who had her at the young age of 17, was a big influence to Ice, even though it seems like she doesn't really like her mom like that. But I'm gonna explain in a second, hold on. What's funny is that when I was a kid, I often imagined how it would be if my parents separated or got divorced, because I thought it would be so cool to celebrate my birthday 2 times, to have 2 Christmases, to go on more family vacations. I'm like, damn, like I would be living the life because more gifts, of course. And I envied my classmates who had that luxury. But of course, now that I'm older and I actually have sense, I realize how fortunate I am to have grown up in a 2-parent household. So I can't exactly understand what Ice Spice went through when her parents were separated, but I do understand that it is a tough situation because I do have friends who have their parents separated. In a candid interview Ice Spice did with Interview magazine back in 2022, when she was becoming a rising star, she opened up about her relationship that she had with her mom. So she said, "She gives me sister vibes and she's a little crazy, but I'm thankful because that's why I am who I am. It's chaotic, but we love each other down." And that chaotic yet loving energy from her mom has shaped Ice into the person who she is today. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm joking. Let me stop roasting this girl. Let me stop, okay? And then we have her dad, who is an underground rapper. While he may not have been a household name, his hustle and grind did make a significant impact on Ice. She remembers taking road trips with him, watching him distribute his CDs, and soaking in the ins and outs of the music industry. For Ice, pursuing music felt like a natural path for her, almost like it was in her blood. But just because it's in your blood doesn't mean it's right for you, too. Let me stop roasting this girl. Let me stop, okay?
So that was a fucking lie.
I checked every corner of the internet and I could not for the life of me find any song from Ice Spice's dad. He must have been extremely underground because I literally could not find anything. I was trying to find even a snippet of one of his songs, a performance, nothing. Like I could not find anything. So if you happen to find anything, please link it down in the comments below. Let us see it because I was trying to see his rapping skills. I wanted to see if his rapping skills make sense with how Ice Spice raps. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to see if there's a correlation, but I guess we'll never know. As I mentioned earlier, Ice Spice's parents separated when she was only 2 years old, so growing up was not a smooth journey. Ice Spice spent most of her early years with her grandparents and extended family because her parents were always working. She was one of many kids with 5 younger siblings, that's a lot, and she often felt the weight of being split between 2 households. But Ice Spice's childhood wasn't just about family, it was also shaped by her experiences at school. She attended Sacred Heart High School in Yonkers, where she not only hit the books, but also thrived as a volleyball player. After graduating in 2018, she went on to attend Purchase College, part of the SUNY system, where she studied communications, but music was never far from her heart. In college, she began making music with her friend and producer Riot USA. Well, I don't know if I can say friend, because from what I've heard, it sounds like they're more than friends, but I don't think any one of them has come out to say, hey, we're dating. So right now it's all speculation, but I don't know. I think they're more than friends. Riot, whose real name is Ephraim Lopez, I hope I'm saying that right, girl. I don't know if I'm saying Ephraim.
Stop it.
So annoying.
Ephraim.
Ephraim, cool. Ephraim. So Riot, whose real name is Ephraim Lopez, grew up surrounded by music. And this is thanks to his father, DJ Enough, who is a well-known figure on Hot 97 in NYC, in New York City. Despite having such a famous dad, Riot wanted to keep their relation under wraps so he could carve out his own path. And it did work because he is a well-known figure today. Dare I say that he's even more well-known than his own father. So whenever you're listening to one of Ice Spice's songs and you hear her say, "Stop playing with them, Riot," she's referring to, why did I say it like that? I don't know why I said it like that. But when she says that, she's referring to Riot, which is her producer or maybe boyfriend, I don't know. But this tagline has become a signature of their collaboration and millions recognize it easily. Together, Riot and Ice Spice have been a dynamic duo, but his impact on her career goes beyond just producing her hits. Riot's grind and unique sound has helped shape Ice Spice's career. But the question now is, can they keep the momentum going? Because right now, the momentum is going downhill. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of Ice Spice's musical influences. She stated that icons like Lil' Kim, Nicki Minaj, Foxy Brown, and Remy Ma didn't just inspire her. They set the blueprint for what kind of artist she wanted to be. And if we fast forward to 2023, she was able to get a Nicki co-sign so early in her career with the song Barbie World for the Barbie soundtrack. However, some drama did come out of that collaboration, but she was still able to get that co-sign nonetheless. And as for the music itself, Ice Spice found her sound in the world of drill music. This genre is known for its hard-hitting beats and rapid-fire rhythms, but drill wasn't new, but Ice Spice added her own twist to it. She once explained that drill is defined by the beats, the hi-hat pattern, the 808 slides, but drill is expanding like crazy. It started in Chicago, went to the UK, and now it's back in New York in its final form. So for Ice, it wasn't just about rapping over beats. It was about creating an entire mood or vibe that resonated with the streets and beyond. And what was that vibe, you ask? Well, the vibe is all about being a baddie. Being confident, stylish, and unapologetic, just being a bad gal, like that was the vibe she was creating. And honestly, this worked in her favor because TikTok thrives off of aesthetics. They love the ish. And her pushing that cute baddie aesthetic played right into the platform's strengths, which helped elevate her even more as an artist. It wasn't just her music that was getting spread. It was her whole look, her whole vibe, her whole persona that was spreading like wildfire. Going back to her interview that she had in 2022 with Interview Magazine, she says, "I write all my music. My producer helps me when we're in the studio, bouncing ideas back and forth, but I don't like to accept references. If I'm going to work with a writer, I like for us to build it from scratch." And all I can say to that is, girl, we can tell you write your own music. We can tell.
He's already dead.
It's obvious. You repeat the 4 same lyrics over and over again. Like, girl, I'm not a fan of ghostwriters in rap, but in cases like this, we need one. ASAP No Rocky. But honestly, this doesn't even matter because Ice Spice is pretty. Before she blew up with music, she blew up by being pretty. And just keep this in mind because this is an important point. The Bust It Challenge was a viral dance trend on TikTok in early 2021 during COVID, and it was based on the song Bust It by rapper Erica Banks. The challenge involved people starting the video in casual, everyday clothing, often looking disheveled or relaxed to the slow part of the song. Then when the beat dropped, they would suddenly transition into a glamorized version of themselves, usually dressed up, made up, and ready to party. The challenge quickly took off because of its dramatic before and after transformations, with both everyday users and celebrities participating. But also it definitely took off too because people wanted to see attractive women twerk. The challenge also popularized Erica Banks' song Bust It, which helped bring it to the spotlight, which was good for her too, so period to that. So Ice Spice did this challenge, she went viral, and it wasn't because of any exceptional talent or skill, it was simply because people thought that she was hot. And honestly, this laid the groundwork for her entire career, which explains where she's at right now. And as I said earlier, I will admit, because I was bamboozled by Ice Spice, I actually gave her a chance. Like, if you go back to my previous videos, I was out here defending this girl. Like, I was like, yeah, she's cute, like, leave her alone. And now look, when she first went viral with the song Munch, I did not care for her at all. I was like, cool, the song is a good song for TikTok, for memes, and the bass is fire, but that's about it. I thought she was gonna come and go. But when she kept on dropping music and y'all were still paying attention to her, that's when I was confused. I'm like, am I missing something? Like, cause the song Munch is trash, but like it's good for memes and all that. So I understand that, but why are we still platforming this person who clearly is not that talented? Oop. But then she released In Her Mood, Gangster Boo, Princess Diana, and The Boy's a Liar Part 2 with Pink Pantheress. And I was like, oh, okay, like I can low-key get behind her music. And around this time, people were hailing her as the rapper for Gen Z. And I think this is when she started to stand out from other female rappers because no one else was getting that title but her. Her sound was different, she looked different, and she was a whole vibe to people. People loved her. But I don't think I ever mentioned this on this channel. Maybe I have, I don't know. But I feel like a large part of her appeal was the fact that she looked like a high schooler. Like, am I lying? She has this very youthful look, and also she wore minimal makeup and also had that Annie wig on her head. So she just looked very, very young, and this definitely was a large part of her appeal. Which, if we're being honest, is quite concerning because she does not portray herself as a teenager or whatever, but she looks like one. Like, she's always twerking, she's always bent over, her tongue's out, all that. And it's just kind of concerning because that means y'all like seeing young women in those type of poses. You know what I mean? Like, people who are barely legal. Y'all like seeing that? Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, of course, she's of age. She's like 24, I think now. So she's of age, but she doesn't look like it. Especially in the beginning of her career, she did not look like it. But I'm not even surprised though, because I know how y'all love, okay, not y'all, but you know who I'm talking about. But I know how much y'all love youthfulness and just anti-aging, so I'm not surprised, but it's disappointing. So yeah, that was definitely a big part of her appeal, which skyrocketed her career. But as with many artists who rise fast, there's always more to the story, so let's talk. The facade begins to unravel. Now we're getting into the real story. Up until this point, Ice Spice had crafted an image, a vibe if you will, of a young, fresh artist breaking barriers and capturing the hearts of Gen Z. But like with anything that looks too good to be true, the cracks started to show. As we dive deeper, we'll see how what was once celebrated as authenticity might not be so genuine after all. Welcome to part 2. The facade begins to unravel. But before we get into this section, let's see what y'all had to say. So I always ask you guys questions on Instagram, but I'm not gonna ask all of the questions at once today. I'm gonna sprinkle them throughout today's video. So one of the questions I asked was, what do you think about the idea of talent versus image in achieving success? So 19% said talent should always come first, and another 19% said image plays a crucial role today. But 51% of y'all said a balance of both is essential, then 12% said it varies by genre and audience. Okay, so we got a lot of mixed reactions up in here. That means it's gonna be a good video, period. But it's interesting to see that even though we know that talent is important, most of y'all believe that image still holds a major place in the industry, or that it's about balancing both. And that balance is exactly what's been up for debate when we talk about artists like Ice Spice. She might have nailed the image part, but is that enough for longevity? Well, that's what we're getting into today. So keep your answers in mind as we delve into this discussion further. Where do I even begin with this section? There's just so much to unpack that it's a little bit overwhelming. I mean, we could talk about that whole fake PR relationship with Central C, where they pretended to be dating, or they pushed this idea that Central C cheated on his girlfriend Madeline with Ice Spice. And Madeline is a popular TikToker if you don't know, and she made a story time about how Central C is a cheater. I didn't listen to the full thing because I got tired, but honestly I feel like they paid her to make that video to make the song go more viral, because you know Central C and Ice Spice have a song together. I don't know, it was just giving me very fake vibes. That's why I'm like, I'm not even gonna listen to this full story time, period. I even made a TikTok video discussing all this, so if you want to follow me on TikTok for more short form commentary stuff, feel free to, period. But honestly, it was just a mess, and the whole point of the drama was to get people to start streaming the song and to hype it up or whatever. But I don't know if the song even hit #1 despite all the drama, so tea. But whoever actually believed that Ice Spice and Central C were dating, message me, we'll talk. I have a couple things I would like to sell to you, so yeah, message me, period. But then there's other stuff we could talk about, like Ice Spice trying to build a brand around poop. Yeah, I wish I was joking, because I can't even believe it myself. I'm like, where did we go wrong? Like, where did you start talking about poop? Like, girl, every second, like, I gotta change my diaper. I miss poopy, like, I need a diaper. Like, girl.
Brother, ugh.
And I will never forget when she posted a selfie of herself sitting on the toilet. Like, girl, why? I'm not gonna show the picture, but it's somewhere on her Instagram. Now, I know all of that stuff is wild and just nasty. Like, as Raven Simone says, you little nasty.
You're nasty.
So all of that stuff is wild, but that's just scratching the surface. Let's get into the real stuff, the bigger picture behind Ice Spice and what's really going on. Let's start with Baby Storm, because she is really the one who cracked open the door and showed us a sneak peek of who Ice Spice really is. It all began when Baby Storm subtly hinted at things that got people questioning Ice Spice's character and authenticity. While Ice Spice was being praised for her rise in the music industry, Baby Storm was not afraid to throw some shade and expose the truth, which people did not believe at first. So Baby Storm is a rising music artist known for her unique style, blending pop, punk, and alternative sounds. She first gained attention on TikTok, where her striking appearance and personality helped her amass a significant following of over 1 million followers. With her bold aesthetic, often featuring vibrant hair and edgy fashion, she's become a favorite among Gen Z listeners who are drawn to her authenticity and individuality. Baby Storm's music reflects her fierce, unapologetic energy, touching on themes of self-empowerment and breaking free from societal norms. Songs like Jackson have helped her gain recognition, and she's often praised for her raw, emotional performances that tap into the angst and the rebellion of youth. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I didn't know who Baby Storm was until I realized she was friends with Ice Spice. I believe Ice Spice posted a photo of her like way back, or Ice Spice tagged her, then I stalked Baby Storm through that. So yeah, I didn't know Baby Storm until I knew who Ice Spice was. And I gave her song Jackson a listen, and it's good. Like, I wouldn't go back to listen to it though. It was good, but just not my cup of tea. But her most popular song on Spotify, titled "This City is a Graveyard," I thought was a little bit more catchier, and I was like, oh, like I could maybe listen to the song. But then I realized that she filmed a music video in an actual graveyard, and I was like, oh, pause. See, like, thing is that I don't mess with that type of stuff. No Ouija boards, no just chilling around in a graveyard. Like, I don't even like passing the graveyard. What do you mean you're filming a music video in a graveyard? Because deadass, after I watched The Deliverance on Netflix, I had to burn incense around my house because I do not play with that type of stuff. Anything that's too demonic or hits too close to home, I'm like, yeah, nope, we don't deal with that. I would not go back to Baby Storm's music. I wouldn't listen to it, but she definitely has an audience, so she'll find her audience eventually. Because of the way that Baby Storm looks and acts, strongly feel like that's a major reason why people did not believe anything she was saying. But let's get into what she said about Ice Spice. So Baby Storm said, referring to Ice Spice, she forced everyone in her life to sign an NDA, including me, but the only person I'm signed to is God. I will speak the truth. And speak she did. Baby Storm came with receipts that allegedly show Ice Spice making pretty problematic remarks, including dissing Nicki Minaj. And we all know how the Barbs act, and the Barbs are Nicki Minaj's fan base, by the way, so we all know how the Barbs act when someone disrespects their queen. We saw with Megan Thee Stallion. So they were not too happy with that. But Ice Spice was allegedly caught making racist and fatphobic comments, and also talking about Cleotrapa, who we will get to in a second. But what's funny to me is that before Baby Storm posted her expose on Ice Spice, she posted an announcement that she was going to expose her, and I don't know why I just found it so funny, because it felt like she was gearing up for like some super huge revelation, but it was just like an Ice Spice rant. I don't know, girl, it was a lot. When Baby Storm's tweets started flooding in, things got chaotic quickly. Alongside the wild claim that Ice Spice tried to kill her choreographer with a machete without any actual proof, Baby Storm also accused Ice Spice of being abusive towards Riot USA. So she basically admitted that they were dating and that Ice Spice was abusive to him. But some other accusations that Baby Storm said was that that Ice Spice is homophobic and that Ice Spice talks badly about her own mom, that Ice Spice gave her siblings $200 for Christmas even though she was allegedly a millionaire at the time, and also that Ice Spice used to bully Baby Storm back in the day, but then Baby Storm forgave her. Just like a lot of stuff that like, yeah, sounds bad, but it's just like, girl, like what? Like, why are you telling us this? You know what I mean? However, much of the internet just didn't seem to care about what half of the things that Baby Storm was saying. The main focus was one key revelation, that Ice Spice allegedly called Nicki Minaj ungrateful and delusional. Given that a significant portion of Ice Spice's fans were Barbs, this was not a good look. Because after Nicki co-signed Ice Spice by hopping on Princess Diana and also doing the Barbie World song with her, the Barbs started to heavily support Ice Spice. So her talking smack about their queen is not the way to go. It's really not the way to go, because the Barbs, they are one very loyal fan base. I was even gonna make a video about Nicki Minaj, but I was like, child, let me wait, because I don't have time for these Barbs to try to attack me, girl. Like, I'm just a girl, so yeah, period. I definitely saw some of Nicki's fans starting to turn on Ice Spice after the expose, but for the most part, people were just clowning Baby Storm for her outlandish claims. Many people accused Baby Storm of having a meltdown, and they called her crazy, so Ice Spice's career was relatively untouched, and she was still doing well, but it's just that Nicki fans were not messing with her. When Baby Storm started tweeting all of this, I'll be honest, I did not take her seriously at all, because whenever a friend exposes another friend after they have a falling out, I always have to side-eye them, because I'm like, because if you thought that they were a bad person, an evil person, a crazy person, why were you friends with them for that long? So I just kind of like side-eye when people do that, because I'm like, I just don't know their motive behind it. I can't imagine having a falling out with one of my friends, then thinking, hey, I'm gonna go through all our messages, take screenshots and post them for the world to see and expose them. I just can't understand that thought process. Maybe if they did something very bad, but even then, if they do something bad enough to warrant that, like, I don't understand that thought process. But you know what? Let's see what you guys had to say. So over on Instagram, I asked, if you had a falling out with a friend, do you think it's justified to expose them and post your private conversations online? Some of y'all thought I was talking about myself. Like, girl, no. When I asked you guys to poll on Instagram, it's always about the videos, period. So 59% of you said no, that's crossing a boundary. And honestly, I get it, because just because the friendship has ended doesn't mean that level of trust should just be thrown out just like that. But here is where it gets interesting, because 32% of you said it depends on what they did. And one of you guys actually swiped up, so I'm gonna read what you said. I thought it was interesting. If your falling out with a friend wasn't that big and somewhat serious, then leaking your private chats is crossing a boundary, unless they did a really bad thing that could harm others. But with most falling outs with friends, they aren't that dangerous, hence why I chose no. And that's on period, because I wonder what people have to do in order for you guys to expose them. Just curious. So if you have an answer to that question, give me an example in the comments down below. Be like, hey, if my friend did this to me, I would expose them. Then 9% said maybe, but only to warn others. So I guess this is how Baby Storm felt. She was trying to warn others of who Ice Spice really is. So I guess I can see that correlation maybe. And shout out to the bold 1% that said yes, we're no longer friends, so they would expose the friendship. So at least you guys were honest. But just let me know who you are so I can avoid being your friend, period. I can't help but wonder, like, if Ice Spice wasn't famous, would Baby Storm do all this and try to expose her, or I guess try to ruin her career? Like, it just makes you wonder, what was her motivations behind all of this? Most of these messages, we did not even have to see it. There was messages of Ice Spice ranting about her mom. I think she was calling her jealous of her. She was just not talking highly of her mom. And I'm like, why are you showing us this? Like, girl, like, isn't this not like your friend is confiding in you? Like, she feels upset at her mom, or because, you know, like, it's very natural to get in an argument with your parents, then go to your friend and just rant to them. And you're probably not saying the nicest things about your parents, but it's because you're in the heat of the moment. You're upset. So you're going to your friend to rant. Then your friend exposes it for the world. Like, what? I didn't really read all of the messages that Ice Spice said about her mom, but I'm just like, girl, we did not really need to see it. But what also didn't help Baby Storm's case and made her look less credible is around this time she posted a TikTok video saying that her and her husband would buy everyone plane tickets to leave America because a civil war was coming. Something like that. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Going to be this year before the upcoming 2024 election. His death, what is ultimately going to cause a civil war in the United States. All of the rich will die and only the poor will survive. If you are poor and you are watching this, just hold on a little bit longer. I'm going to set you free very soon. You will need to flee the United States and go to any other country. But there's only one country that you cannot go to. Those who are meant to hear this message will understand immediately. My husband and I will single-handedly fund any and every poor person that wants to leave the United States. But again, that is only if you are willing to sacrifice all material possessions, all of it.
That was the video, and a lot of people were concerned about baby Storme's mental health after she posted this video. And if you thought that people were skeptical about her before, this threw her credibility into question. A lot of people just did not believe her. They thought she was crazy. All of this baby Storm drama happened earlier this year in May and April, but now those old claims have resurfaced with this new cleotrapa drama that just happened literally this month. So let's dive into the Cleo situation, because if you thought that the baby Storm situation was a lot, wait till you hear about Cleo. Cause girl, like, how do you have two friends exposing you in 1 year? That's some crazy ass shit right there. I forgot to add that baby Storm also exposed Ice Spice for talking bad about cleotrapa, who was supposed to be her friend at the time. She said that Cleo was jealous of her, Cleo was fake, just like random stuff like that. So that was also exposed as well. So just keep that in mind as we get into the cleotrapa drama, which recently just happened. But on top of that, there was controversy around Ice Spice's claim to her Nigerian heritage. From what I understand, her father mentioned that he had Nigerian ancestry, but the specifics are murky. It feels like she might not have any deep connection to the culture, and it's hard to say how much of it is genuinely part of her identity. Even if there is some distant Nigerian heritage, the way she mentioned it, it almost felt strategic. She knew that claiming to be Nigerian would resonate with a lot of people and make her seem more relatable and make people just be more invested in her, and also align her closer to her blackness. You get what I'm trying to say? Personally, when Ice Spice said she was Nigerian, I was like, oh, okay, my sister. Because I wasn't born in Nigeria, but my parents were, and I do carry a strong sense of pride in my identity. I love Nigeria, I love the culture, the food, bussin'. So yeah, I was like, damn, like Ice Spice is one of us. Anyways, cleotrapa, someone who is actually of Nigerian descent, is an emerging artist in the music industry known for her distinctive style and often candid lyrics. Her music combines elements of hip-hop, trap, and pop, often featuring catchy hooks and relatable themes. Cleotrapa started gaining traction on social media platforms, particularly TikTok, where she showcased her talent through short clips of her songs and freestyle raps. This online presence helped her build a loyal fan base. As her popularity grew, she released singles that further established her style and identity in the music industry. So Cleo is known for her bold and unapologetic approach, which resonates with her audience. So Cleotrapa, who appeared in the In Her Mood music video, was known as one of Ice Spice's friends and was also an opening act on the US leg of her Y2K tour. However, things took a turn when Cleo turned to TikTok to air out her grievances about how Ice Spice allegedly treated her during the tour, which led to the end of their friendship. Ice has responded, but we'll get into that later. So on September 2nd, fans noticed that Cleotrapa and Ice Spice unfollowed each other on Instagram, and this was just days after the conclusion of Ice Spice's tour. Cleo even commented on a fan's post admitting that she was not paid for her tour participation. She said that she was played, betrayed, and unpaid, and that made a lot of people's ears perk up because that sounds like some tea. That same day, Cleo posted a 6-part, nearly an hour-long TikTok series talking about her experience on tour with Ice Spice, and she accused her of being a fake friend. It was not looking good for Miss Ice Spice. This is not her year. Cleo stated that she felt used, and she said, "You deserve to know who that girl is as a human being." So that definitely had me seated, and I was like, yo, let me listen to this. Let me see what's going on, because first we had Baby Storm, now we have Cleo, and people have been telling Cleo to leave Ice Spice. So like, I was like, okay, like really, what's the tea? So in her TikTok series, which I believe is still up on her page, Cleo made some serious accusations against Ice Spice. The way that Cleo described her experiences was definitely eye-opening, because she said that she was left to self-promote herself while Ice Spice basked in the limelight. Cleo was also forced to change in public restrooms and had to cover her own hotel expenses last minute. So that's definitely a stark contrast from what you would expect from a supportive friend, right? What's wild to me is that I had no idea that Cleo was an opener for this tour. I knew Ice Spice was going on this tour because she had posted it a lot and I saw it all over my page, so I knew she was going on tour, but I had no idea that she even had an opener to begin with, let alone her supposed friend. I didn't see no promotional posters, no pictures of Cleo, no videos of Cleo, literally nothing. I only found out that she was on this tour after she dropped her TikTok series because girl, if she had never dropped this series, I would have never known. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way as well. It's just surprising to me because artists usually make it a point to post their opener. You're gonna make an ad for it and like have all that information on the ad, you know what I mean? But I never once saw an ad or a poster that promoted Cleo, which is just crazy to me. Like, what? And you're not even posting a photo of your friend performing, literally nothing. And of course, that's not mandatory, but it's the least you could do because it's your tour. You invited your friend last minute. And if that's supposed to be your friend, wouldn't you not want to showcase them on your tour? Doesn't seem like it. I'm not going to go through every single detail that Cleo mentioned in the TikTok series because it's a lot and I'm sure you have already seen the video, so I'm just going to summarize it real quick. So Cleo said that she met Ice Spice 2 years ago before Ice blew up. She said she was genuinely supportive of her, but it wasn't long until she started to see the red flags. Cleo shares that Ice called her one morning inviting her to join the tour. At first, Cleo was hesitant because she was like, girl, why would I travel across the country just to watch you perform? Like, I got things to do. I got money to make. But then Ice assured her that she would be performing as well. She wasn't getting paid to perform though, but she would be performing. So Cleo thought that she was trying to be a good friend and just help her and, you know, help her get more exposure because Ice Spice is the bigger artist. Let's be real. It would have been good promo for Cleo, but not really. After the fallout with her ex-best friend Baby Storm, who exposed Ice Spice for calling others jealous, Cleo said that she started to notice a pattern. Every time Ice invited her out, it felt calculated, like she was using her for publicity. A lot of people, including Baby Storm, said that Ice Spice used cleotrapa to appear closer to blackness. And this is not a far-fetched assumption because we have seen, at least I myself have seen a lot of non-black people hang out with black people to appear more black or just to get cool points, you know what I mean? I've seen it a lot of times, so it's not far-fetched to believe this theory. Just like Kendrick said, they not like us, they not like. And what was even more crazy, and this is when I was like, yep, Ice Spice is not this girl's friend, is because Cleo was performing at 7:30 and the show was supposed to start at 8. Listen, every time they say a show is gonna start at 8, everyone knows to come late because the show is not gonna start at 8. It usually starts an hour after. For example, when I went to the Beyonce concert, I think she said 8 or 9 or whatever. Either way, I got there late, and even though I got there late, she still was not on stage. Like, sis came out like an hour and a half-ish, like an hour and a half late. But you know, like, if you're going to a show, just come late because the artist is not going to start on time. So that means if Cleo is performing at 7:30, that means she's basically performing to no one. Like, people are still shuffling in, people are still getting into their seats. Like, she's not really performing for an audience, which defeats the whole purpose of her performing because she's trying to perform to get new fans and everything. But they're not even paying attention to her because half the crowd's not even there. And on top of that, security was not helping Cleo at all. They did not help her carry her bags into the hotel, or they just were not helping her. And Ice Spice was not speaking up for her friend to be like, hey, help her, she's my guest on the tour. No, silence. And every time they showed up to a new venue, they kept telling Cleo they don't have space for her, but magically if someone else appeared, they would just magically have space for them. Like, Cleo was noticing a pattern. And even before we get into the more dramatic moments, it was clear that Ice Spice was never really rocking with Cleo in the first place. Whenever Ice Spice went to an important event like an award show or when she's hanging out with Taylor Swift, you never see her invite Cleo with her. Like, if she goes to a basketball game, cool, like she goes with Cleo, but that's not really important. Like, going to these award shows, like, she would never go with Cleo, she would always go with Riot. And I mean, Riot is her producer, her boo, so that makes sense. But you're telling me you couldn't bring your friend Cleo at least once? And Ice never even posted Cleo being on tour with her, so that already told me everything I need to know. Like, y'all not friends. But it gets worse because Cleo left her small purse. She left it on one of the couches, or she left it somewhere in Ice Spice's dressing room. Ice Spice was in the room and other people were there as well, so Cleo stepped out. She came back. Her bag was outside of the dressing room and someone had charged $700 to her card. Yeah. Cleo was able to get her money back, but why was her bag outside? Like, it's literally such a small, tiny bag. Like, how did someone see, okay, that's Cleo's bag, I'm gonna take it and put it outside? You know what I mean? Like, who would do that? Why would they do that? And on top of that, why would they charge $700 to her card? Like, what? Cleo didn't accuse anybody of doing so, but she's better than me. Because I would have been like, yo, show me the security cameras, show me something, because, like, what's going on? I would have been like, police! Police! Like, who knows what else someone could have done with my money or with my bag, so she is better than me. And it did not stop there. So Cleo was hungry, so she wanted a chicken salad, but Ice Spice production team said Cleo was not in the budget, so she could not get a chicken salad. What? How are y'all that tight with your money that you can't give someone a chicken salad? Especially someone who is supposed to be the opener of the show. And Ice said nothing too, which is crazy. Like, your friend's hungry, you're not saying anything. Like, what is actually going on? This is just so weird, and it's not giving friend vibes. It's giving very weird hater energy. Like y'all are that broke you can't add someone to your budget. But hey, maybe it's true, because I know they said that Ice Spice was not paying for her wig, so maybe their budget is tight. They don't got no money. But my question is, and this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but since Ice Spice's team cannot afford these bust down wigs, why don't they just stick to their Annie wigs? You know what I mean? Like, it was working before. Plus, while Ice Spice has been on this tour, I have not seen her wear her Annie wig. I've been seeing her with like bust downs, like long wigs or whatever. So I'm just like, if y'all want to save money, just go back to the Annie wigs, you know? But it just got me thinking, like, was Ice Spice always like this, or did she let the fame get to her head? I think that's a valid question, so let's see what you guys have to say. So on Instagram, I asked, do you think fame changes friendships for the worse? So it was a close one, but the winner was sometimes, which tells me that you guys think fame doesn't always have to mess things up, but it can definitely complicate stuff. But 21% of you guys said yes, definitely. And I can't blame you for that answer too, because we hear a lot of stories about people blowing up, becoming famous, becoming rich or whatever, and they switch up on their day one. So that is a common story that I have heard a lot. So I don't know, I just really think it depends on the person and if you have a strong foundation for your friendship in the first place. Because if your friend really didn't care for you in the first place, then when they have power, money, and fame, that's gonna tell you if you guys are friends or not. Because if they didn't care about you when you guys are broke, you think they're gonna care about you when they're rich? No. So it's just important to have discernment when you are making friends and calling people your friends. But it's clear that Ice Spice and Cleo were never friends like that because they did not have a solid foundation for their friendship. And that's why things have turned sour so quickly. So after Cleo accused Ice Spice of being a fake friend and exposed how she was mistreated on the tour, Ice Spice's response wasn't exactly a defense. It was simply her calling Cleo ungrateful. This reaction did nothing to address the specific claims that Cleo made and just made the backlash even worse. In fact, Ice Spice ended up losing over like 500,000 followers on Instagram after the Cleo incident. So it's clear that Cleo's story resonated with a lot of people, especially those who saw Ice as a down-to-earth artist before the fame. And my friend who initially sent me Cleo's video even told me that they were unfollowing Ice Spice themselves. And I think that reflects how Cleo's experience impacted a large number of people. When you hear stories of mistreatment or a lack of loyalty, it shifts public perception fast. People don't want to support someone who doesn't support their friends. And in this case, it looks like a lot of fans are taking Cleo's side. One thing I will say though, because I gotta keep it real, I gotta be honest, Cleo should have never accepted Ice Spice's invitation to go on tour because it was way too last minute. And when things are last minute, it's not planned properly, and that's when things like this happen. And I do feel like Cleo did see some signs before the tour incident that Ice Spice was not a real friend, but because Ice Spice is the bigger artist numbers wise, I do feel like Cleo stuck around because she thought that being friends with Ice Spice would give her more exposure and that Ice Spice would, you know, give her shout outs. They could do a song together or something like that. Like, I'm surprised they never did a song together. Have discernment when it comes to making friends. That's a very important lesson you guys should take out of this story. Y'all be calling everyone friend, and that's not the case. Some people who you call a friend could literally be plotting your downfall. Y'all stay safe out there. The whole situation with cleotrapa is just another layer added to what seems like Ice Spice's continued downfall over the past year. First, her album flopped, even though it featured major artists like Travis Scott, Central C, and Gunna. And when you have names like that on your project and it still doesn't perform, then there's definitely a sign that things aren't clicking musically. While the drama with Baby Storm didn't really hurt her that much, except for the fact that she did lose the Barbs as followers and supporters, her messy situation with Central C definitely got people talking, and now this fallout with cleotrapa has definitely hit harder than expected. It's not about the drama either. If Ice Spice actually had good music, I could see her pushing through and standing the test of time. But the truth is, she doesn't. Point blank period, she does not. Without quality music to back her up, her career feels like it's losing steam fast. I'm not sure where she's headed next, but it does not look very promising. Part 3. Your body can only take you so far. In this segment, we confront a stark reality in the world of fame. While a captivating image can create initial buzz, it's not enough to sustain a career. Ice Spice's rise to prominence serves as a cautionary tale about the limitations of relying solely on physical appearance. As we analyze the aftermath of everything discussed in today's video, we'll highlight how the absence of substantial talent and meaningful connections can lead to a swift decline, illustrating the importance of depth and authenticity in an artist's journey. Let's dive into how this dynamic played a crucial role in Ice Spice's story. Let me make this crystal clear. Ice Spice is not a talented rapper. Oop. Especially when she first came out, there was no bars there whatsoever. But she caught that viral TikTok wave and paired it with a unique aesthetic, and then boom, she blew up. But before I roast Ice Spice too much, let's see what you guys had to say about this type of artist. On Instagram, I asked, what's your take on artists who rely heavily on visuals over substance? 18% of you said that it's a valid strategy in today's market, and honestly, you're not wrong, because the way that social media is set up right now, sometimes you have to have that vibe and that look to get an initial reaction from the audience. So that's true, unfortunately. And 10% said it's a sign of insecurity in their talent. That's also facts too, because a lot of y'all be using all these extra visuals, all these extra stuff to try to make it seem like you're a good performer. But if we took all of that away and you just had to be on stage by yourself with the mic, I'm sure a lot of y'all cannot do it. Then 53% of you said it ultimately leads to a short career. And could this be what's happening with Ice Spice? Then finally, 18% of you said it can be entertaining if done well. And for some reason, this answer made me think of Sexy Red, because yes, she be doing too much and the things she does is disgusting, but she does have that entertaining factor to her sometimes. And when I say entertaining, I think I just mean more like funny. She can be funny sometimes, not all the time, because she be doing some messed up stuff. Maybe Cardi B is a better example, because when Cardi B first stepped onto the scene, she was not a good rapper to me, but over time she did become better. But in the beginning, she was funny. Like, she was funny and she had a really charismatic personality. So even though she couldn't rap, she had the personality. But Ice, I'm not getting that from her. I watched a couple of her interviews. She's not interesting. No offense, but she's not interesting. So most of y'all seem to agree that yes, visuals are important and they can get you through the door, but they can't keep you in the room. So let's see how this applies to Ice Spice. And a reminder, if you want to join future conversations and be part of the video, head over to NK's World on Instagram so you can be part of these polls and you can tell me the tea and tell me what's up. Period. So Ice Spice. She's not talented, she's not creative, and that's why her album flopped. I listened to her album. I listened once and that was enough. Actually, no, I even tried to listen to it again before this video so I could refresh my memory and be like, okay, is it actually that bad? It's bad. I don't like the album at all. I was gonna try to be a little bit nicer in this section, but honestly, like, sometimes you just gotta say it how it is. The songs were short and recycled, and they lacked any real depth or authenticity. Like, it wasn't even anything like interesting to listen to. And it was clear that she was trying to emulate Nicki Minaj without bringing any of her own identity to the table. Like, it was just focused on being a baddie. I'm a baddie, like, fuck how you feel. Like, girl, cause a girl, I could write an Ice Spice song in under 5 minutes. It's really not that hard. You don't believe me? Give me a beat. Like, damn, I'm a baddie. Like, how you feel? I'm a baddie. Like, I am as Neil. Do you want to be me? But you can't. I gotta change my diaper because it's full.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Girl, I just made an Ice Spice song. Someone signed me to a record label right now. And what's even more sad is the fact that the beats that they make for Ice Spice are actually pretty fire, but she just wasted with like lazy bars. Like the beat on Plenty Sun and Popa and even Fat Butt were good. I just wish they were given to someone else other than Ice Spice. And as I said before, I did like her earlier music. I liked Princess Diana, I liked In Her Mood, I liked Gangsta Boo, and I also liked The Boy's a Liar Part 2. Those felt like they had something fresh to offer, but I feel like she blew up way too quickly to have time to hone her craft to actually be good at it, because she's not. Now it just feels like we're waiting for her to catch up to the expectations that come with fame, and I don't think she's equipped to do that. In fact, I will never forget that clip where Kai Cenat asks her to freestyle while they're on the stream, and this girl just starts twerking. Girl, like, let me actually find that video. Let me find the video and show you.
Fuck 'em up. 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 Fuck 'em him up. Fuck 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 him up.
Couldn't even give us some bars, Ice. Not even one little bar, just one bar. I mean, it probably wouldn't have been good, but she could have even just been like, I'm cute, blah. Rapping is not her forte, for sure. And at least when the other rap girls twerk, they rap as well. And they actually can rap. So I gotta give credit when credit's due. And there's no credit to give Ice Spice. So with all of the evidence laid out, we arrive at a realization. Ice Spice's fame was built on a rocky foundation. Her mean girl persona combined with a blatant lack of talent and those desperate attempts to cling to relevance by claiming to be Nigerian leads us to one undeniable truth. Her looks alone can't sustain her career any longer. People are clocking her. When we look back at her rise, it's clear that her initial success came from a viral TikTok hit and a striking aesthetic rather than real artistry. Those catchy hooks and clever beats might have turned heads, but they were just a facade. The moment her album dropped and fell flat, it exposed the cracks in that facade. The album just regurgitated the same tired themes of being a baddie. It's as if Ice Spice has become a caricature of herself, leaning too heavily on her looks and neglecting the artistry that should come with being a rapper. This isn't just a problem for Ice Spice, it's a warning for anyone in the industry. The music world can be cruel, especially to those who think they can ride on their appearance alone. History has shown us time and time again that without substance, the fall from grace is not just a possibility, it's almost inevitable. Artists who rely solely on their looks often find that the industry moves on, leaving them behind as newer, more talented stars emerge. Since Ice Spice doesn't have good music, we would have been able to say, oh, but at least she's entertaining. But she's not. Her performances are not good. They have improved, but it's just not like I wouldn't pay to see her. Then we might say, okay, well, maybe she's a good person. But no, we're also seeing that she's not. With Baby Storme and Cleotrapa, like that doesn't sound like a good person. It's not giving me nice girl, girl's girl type of vibe at all. And when artists are lacking not only in talent, but likability, it makes it hard for them to build a loyal following. And that's what's happening with Ice Spice. At the end of the day, all we can say is that she's pretty. That's all we can say. And that's not a lot to say. That's really not. Sure, looks are cute, looks can help you, but girl, looks are not everything. And this doesn't only apply to the music industry, it applies to like everywhere in your life. Yeah, be cute, look good, but if you rely on your looks alone, girl, my commentary in my previous video ties perfectly into this video as well. So, girl, like your personality can make you quite ugly because if you have an ugly personality, you are ugly to me. Ice Spice's journey serves as a stark reminder that while looks can open the door, talent and substance is what keeps the door open. I know that's right. Anyways, thank you so much for making it to the end of today's video. I appreciate you. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. I am super excited to read the comments and I will see you next time, period, because it's 3 a.m. I gotta go sleep. You know the vibes, period. Bye. Like, you are so nice to me. I don't even know what I did, yeah. Ooh, baby, I love you, baby.